been over 20 years, and Yaakov, Jacob, our forefather, has not seen his brother Esau. The last time they saw each other, they left on bad terms. Jacob had taken the blessing that was destined to Esau, and Esau had expressed the desire that he was going to kill Jacob as soon as their father Isaac had passed away. But Yaakov was now returning, coming back home to his parents, and he had to encounter his brother, and he prepared for the worst. He prayed to God. He wanted there perhaps to be some type of a miracle, a miraculous reconciliation. He also sent a lavish gift to Esau, but he also prepared for war. And the Torah tells us that he split up his camp into two, so that if Esau would come and attack the one camp, the other camp would be able to survive. And our sages tell us something very interesting on this point, that we should never put all of our eggs into one basket. Or today we would say, don't put all of your money into one investment, because that investment could fail. Rather spread your portfolio a little bit. And interestingly enough, there is an episode much, much later on in the book of Kings where we see something very similar. There was a great prophet called Obadiah, and in fact this is quite ironic because Obadiah was a descendant of Esau, but he became a convert, a righteous convert, and in fact he was a prophet. And he lived in a time of terrible instability for the Jewish people. He lived in the northern kingdom of Israel, where the king Achav was a wicked person, together with the queen Izebel. And she went on a rampage to kill all of the prophets. She didn't want to hear anything from the prophets. She was an idolater. She was against the Jewish religion. And Obadiah was working in the house of the king. Perhaps he kept his views to himself. He didn't make it known that he was a prophet, but he saw that Izebel was hunting down all of the prophets. So he took 100 prophets, and it tells us in the book of Kings that he hid 50 of them in one cave and 50 of them in another cave, and then he provided for them. He made sure that they had food and water all of the time at his own personal expense. In fact, he died with an incredible debt. Where did he learn this from? The Talmud tells us he learned it from Yaakov Avinu. He learned it from Jacob. That when Jacob was about to be attacked, he said, we can't just have one camp, we've got to split into two. Yes, we may lose the one camp, but the other camp will survive. Obadiah reckoned the same thing. If I'm going to put all of the prophets, all 100 prophets, into a single cave, maybe the cave will be found. Maybe the secret hideaway will be found. Therefore, I'm going to split it. I'm going to split my portfolio, 50 prophets in one cave, 50 prophets in another cave. As it was, they were not discovered. The king Izebel, the queen Izebel passed away, and the prophets survived. But this is a very, very important lesson to everything that in life. There are no sure things. There are no investments that are watertight. You have to spread things as much as possible. And there's another interesting lesson, and this our sages say, that everything that happens to our fathers is an indication of what will happen to the Jewish people throughout history. There have been times in our history where there have been terrible persecutions against the Jewish people. Maybe it was in Europe, maybe it was in Spain. But there was always something positive, and that was V'haya ha'machaneh ha'nish'ar lifleita, that the camp that is left over will survive. That as terrible as it is to be in exile, that the Jewish people are in the diaspora, not all living in the land of Israel, but this has a positive spin on it. Because if there's persecution in one country, it means that at least there's a chance for Jews in another place to survive. This is what we saw in the Holocaust era. It was a terrible, terrible persecution. So many Jews were killed, slaughtered by the Nazis. If not for the fact that already a significant number of Jews had decided before the Holocaust to leave Europe and to go to other countries like South Africa, like America, like Israel, there wouldn't be a Jewish people. And this is something that Hashem engineers throughout the ages, that we're always divided into two or more, so that if something happens to one camp, the other camp will survive. This is the important lesson that we learn from our father Yaakov's preparations for his encounter with Esau. I wish you a Shabbat Shalom.